Good afternoon to all the EAPCET aspirants. This is your Prasanna Ma'am from NEET World, and here we are going to start a new chapter, that is modes of reproduction in organisms. And this unit has two chapters beta. One is modes of reproduction, that is reproduction in organisms, and the second one is sexual reproduction of flowering plants. Okay, we have two chapters in it. Fine, right. The first one is modes of reproduction and the second one is sexual reproduction of flowering plants. Sexual reproduction of flowering plants. So here if you see beta, sexual reproduction of flowering plants you already have in your NEET exam, okay. So this is a common syllabus for both EAPCET and NEET, okay. This is common for both EAPCET and NEET, sexual reproduction of flowering plants. Whereas this modes of reproduction, this is only there for EAPCET. Okay, don't look at this chapter as a new chapter or a different chapter, because modes of reproduction has a common foundation for many other chapters beta. Like if you see here, we will learn different methods of reproduction, wherein under asexual reproduction we will be going through many modes of asexual reproduction like binary fission, budding and spores formation. Especially sporulation type of asexual reproduction, we will recall all the different types of spores of both algae and fungi, which are important again. And then under vegetative propagation, we will be addressing the natural methods of vegetative propagation. We will be looking into most of the stem propagations, okay. As such, many examples of morphology will be covered, and when you see the sexual reproduction, when you look into this, when you address the sexual reproduction domain here in this chapter, you will address pre-fertilization events, fertilization events and post-fertilization events, which are the base for the next chapter, that is sexual reproduction in flowering plants. So here we will once fragment this chapter beta and then we will go in detail, okay. So from modes of reproduction, how you have to learn this chapter into, and where the dots are connected to the other chapters. If you know that, then this chapter will be easy. So here you see ma, first modes of reproduction. We have all learned that reproduction is not the defining feature of living. It is not essential. Reproduction is what? Characteristic feature of living. Reproduction is not the defining feature. It is the characteristic feature of living. Yes or no? As such, reproduction is the characteristic feature of living from diversity of life forms, right? Reproduction is the characteristic feature of living. So here we have modes of reproduction. In modes of reproduction, you can fragment this chapter into three parts. First, basic thing is lifespan beta. Lifespan you have to remember, because from lifespan as such you will not get the direct questions, but when multi-statement based questions are asked, one of the statement can be asked from this lifespan, okay, like what will be the lifespan of different organisms. As such you may get the question. So here first thing you have to focus is about lifespan of the organism, and what will be the juvenile phase and the reproductive phase of multicellular organisms like plants and animals, what will be the juvenile phase and reproductive phase. Juvenile phase and reproductive phase. Fine, right? After this, you will go through asexual reproduction, Asexual reproduction is the common term you can use both for the unicellular organisms and animals. Okay, multicellular organisms like in fungi as well, and in animals you can use the term of asexual reproduction, which is uniparental, that is from single parent, right beta. But whereas for plants you cannot use the asexual reproduction term, you will use the term of propagation. Okay, like from any part of the plant a new plant body is formed, that is said as vegetative propagation. So here under asexual reproduction you have many different types of asexual reproductions. We will see both for unicellular and multicellular animals, multicellular organisms like animals over here. For plants though you have, for plants we will be addressing two types of vegetative propagations. Firstly, this is said as what ma? Vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation can be both natural or artificial. Natural or artificial. Fine, right. So you have natural method of vegetative propagation and artificial method of vegetative propagation. Fine, right. So this we will be addressing over here under asexual reproduction for unicellular and multicellular organisms. We will be going through binary fission, multiple fission, budding, in that also endogenous budding, exogenous budding, okay, fragmentation, all this will be learning under asexual reproduction, especially spore formation of algae and fungi. And when it comes to plants, vegetative propagation, that is both natural and artificial. And the third fragment over here is, is sexual reproduction. Fine, right. So here you see sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction is addressed in three phases here. It is addressed in three phases. One is pre-fertilization events, pre-fertilization events, wherein under pre-fertilization events you will be further learning, two things. Okay, one is gametogenesis. This gametogenesis you can also address it as gamete formation. You can also address it as gamete formation. Fine, right. Second is, first is gametogenesis, second is gamete formation, gamete transfer, gamete transfer. Fine. In animals and plants there will be different methods of gamete transfer, right. And then after pre-fertilization events you will be looking into the second phase, that is post fertilization events. Fertilization in plants is known as syngamy. So this is the first phase of sexual reproduction. Second phase is fertilization events. Fertilization events. So the fertilization events or syngamy in plants is one and the same. And the third event to be highlighted is post-fertilization events. Post-fertilization events. Under post-fertilization events you will be learning zygote development, embryo formation, these are the things that you will learn from post fertilization events. So clear with this chapter beta, this is the complete framework of this chapter, that what we are going to learn. If you know like what we are going to learn, then you can easily know like how we are going to learn this, okay? And how important is this chapter? Modes of reproduction might be, or sexual reproduction of flowering plants. From these two chapters or this unit, definitely you will get 4 questions, at least 3 to 4 questions in your EAPCET exam. That important it is. And modes of reproduction, if you see ma, modes of reproduction, all these 3 aspects are very important, and these are connected with the other chapters, okay? These are connected with other chapters. So, just go through all this, just take a screenshot of this, and you can learn it on your own also. If you want to do self learning, just fragment this chapter as such and you can learn on your own also. But this class gives you a vast diversity of this chapter, fine, right? So, first reproduction, as we have discussed, this is not the defining feature of living, this is the characteristic feature of living. This is what ma? Characteristic feature of living, fine, right? So, here if you see the lifespan of different organisms will be different. Based on different sizes, the lifespan will not vary, even though the size of crow and parrot is same, but their lifespans are different. Same different types of plants, though their size is similar, but the lifespan is varied. If you see mango lifespan, it will be just for 200 to 300 years, whereas for mango the lifespan is just 200 to 300 years. If you see for peepal tree, the lifespan goes from 2000 to 3000 years. Okay, if you see for peepal tree, the lifespan goes from 2000 years to 3000 years. Here for mango, the lifespan is just 200 to 300 years. Right ma? And this table is very important. In this, what you have to focus, I will be telling you. See, just now we have learnt the organism and the average lifespan of this. If you see some microorganisms, it is just for few minutes to few hours, and mayfly, butterfly, fruit fly, we know it is for 1 month, okay, and butterfly it is just for 1 to 2 weeks, and mayfly is just for 1 month. Rice plant lifespan is 4 months, rose bush 10 years, crow 15 years, and cow 25 years of lifespan. Banana tree has 25 years of lifespan, and dog also has 25 years of lifespan. Here you can see mango lifespan, which is just 200 to 300 years. Peepal tree lifespan is 2000 to 3000 years. There is no necessity of remembering all the lifespans ma. Those pictures which are highlighted in your academy book, okay, in your text, that lifespans you have to remember for sure. So, here you see crow, it is 15 years, and parrot for 140 years of lifespan. Fine, right? Man, maximum it is 100 years and it was down to 80 years these days. Next, horse 50 years, crocodile 60 years of lifespan, elephant 60 to 75 years, tortoise 100 to 150 years, banyan tree 200 to 300 years, and sequoia, which is the giant plant, okay, and its lifespan is 3000 to 4000 years. From this table, which you have to remember for the most is, of course, fruit fly you have to remember, microbes, rice plant, crow, cow, banana tree, and here man, you know, parrot is important, and then mango tree, banyan tree, peepal, and sequoia. These lifespans you have to remember for sure ma, okay. Clear with the lifespan? So, the average lifespan is different for different organisms, even though the size of the organisms will be same, but then lifespans will be different. That is the basic point to be conveyed. Now, when it comes to reproduction, as we have discussed, we have 2 types of reproduction. One is asexual reproduction and the second type is what ma? Sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction is, you can learn it as, this is uniparental type of reproduction. Okay, this type of reproduction includes only one parent, involvement of only one parent. So, it is uniparental. Sexual reproduction involves 2 parents. So, this is what? Biparental. Biparental. Okay. So, here you see asexual reproduction, when offspring is produced by a single parent with or without the involvement of gamete formation, that is known as asexual reproduction. In coming slides we will be learning different types of asexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction when two parents of opposite gender or sex participate in the reproductive process and also involve the fusion of male and female gametes, that is what? Sexual reproduction. So, here if you see in normal case like egg cell and a sperm cell, after fertilization zygote will be formed post fertilization and this gets developed to embryo, embryo later develops to the matured organism, okay, after multiple sequential divisions and cell differentiations. This is the common mode of asexual and sexual reproduction. Here the primary point to be focused is asexual reproduction is uniparental and sexual reproduction is biparental. Clear, right beta? Now here we will see different types of asexual reproduction. First is binary fission. For binary fission, the standard example that we will take all the time is amoeba. If you see amoeba has false feet. The movement of amoeba is through pseudopodia like this, and pseudopodia is addressed as what? False feet. So, first movement occurs with pseudopodia here, pseudopodia which is false feet. So, first here movement occurs with pseudopodia. Pseudopodia is pulled in first and then karyokinesis happens. Okay. This is under amitotic divisions. Okay. So, here first what happens? Karyokinesis happens. Okay. Without any involvement of spindle apparatus formation. Okay. Nucleus is dividing, that is karyokinesis is without any spindle apparatus formation. Fine, right. So, this is known as what ma? Amitosis. Fine, right. This is the mode of division of both karyokinesis and cytokinesis. So, here first what happens? Mother amoeba, for mother amoeba pseudopodia or false wheat will be pulled in, then karyokinesis occurs, that is nucleus will divide, and then cytokinesis occurs, that is cytoplasm will divide, just like that, without any involvement of spindle apparatus formation. That is why you will address this process of division as what? Amitosis. And then two daughter amoeba will be formed here. Okay. Two daughter amoeba will be formed. Fine, right. So, this is the common mode of binary fission. There will be different types of binary fission based on the mode, like how it is occurring. If you see in euglena longitudinal binary fission will happen. Okay. In euglena what happens beta? Longitudinal binary fission like this. Fine, right. So, this is the mode it happens. This diagram you can consider after the daughter formation. Fine, right. Longitudinal binary fission occurs in euglena, and then in paramecium if you see, transverse binary fission occurs in paramecium. These three are very important. So, from this what you have to remember beta? Binary fission, it is of two types, simple binary fission and multiple fission. In coming slides we will know like what is multiple fission. Here pseudopodia is also known as what? False feet. First nucleus will divide, that is karyokinesis, next cytoplasm will divide, that is cytokinesis. The division is without the involvement of spindle apparatus, that is why this is known as amitosis. Here we have three different types of binary fissions. One is amoeba, which is simple binary fission, second is euglena, that is longitudinal binary fission, next paramecium which is transverse binary fission. Clear, right ma? Just take a note of it. Just take a note of it. Yeah. Next you can go through multiple fission. Multiple fission also occurs in amoeba. This is during unfavorable conditions. Okay, multiple fission occurs in unfavorable conditions. Fine, right. So here what happens during unfavorable conditions? The amoeba itself, it will pull the pseudopodia inner side, pseudopodia will be pulled towards the inner side, and here around the amoeba a 3-layered cyst is formed. Okay, a 3-layered cyst is formed around the amoeba. This is addressed as encystation. Okay, this is encystation. Fine, right, ma. So, during unfavorable condition what happens? The pseudopodia will be pulled in and amoeba itself gets uncovered with 3 layers of cyst. Here cyst formation is done. This phenomena is called as what? Encystation. After encystation what is seen, ma? Cyst formation occurs. Cyst formation. Fine, right? After the cyst formation, then the cyst will be released whenever the favorable conditions are resumed back. Okay, whenever favorable conditions are resumed back, the cyst will burst open releasing multiple daughter amoeba. Okay, so once again I will repeat this. Listen, ma, whenever there are unfavorable conditions, amoeba will get uncovered with 3 cyst layers. 3 layers of cyst and cyst formation occurs. This phenomena is called as encystation, and whenever favorable conditions are resumed back, the cyst bursts open releasing out the daughter amoeba cells. This is the phenomena of multiple fission which is operated during unfavorable conditions in the amoeba. So here you see the clear differentiation of binary fission and multiple fission. We may expect a question, beta. So here in binary fission it forms how many daughter cells? 2 daughter cells are formed. But in multiple fission, when the favorable conditions are resumed, how many daughter cells are released from a single cyst? Many daughter cells will be released. Number of daughter individuals will be released from the cyst. Here in the binary fission, the nucleus of the parent body divides only once. Here the nucleus of the parent body divides repeatedly. Even after in the cyst only, the amoeba cell will divide multiple times, forming out n number of daughter cells. Here in binary fission there is no residue left, but here in the multiple fission a residue is often left behind. It occurs during favorable condition, that is binary fission, and multiple fission occurs during unfavorable condition. Binary fission makes the organism immortal, and here immortality is absent in multiple fission because once after releasing all the daughter cells, the parent cell will die. So when the concept of mortality and immortality need to be discussed, all the organisms are mortal, we know. That is the reason in the previous slide we have exercised the mortality, what is the lifespan, basic approximate lifespan of different organisms. But only unicellular organisms can be termed as immortal. So unicellular organisms are immortal. Fine, right? This is because of the mode of reproduction they follow. But then if multiple fission is operated, the parent cell will die, so this gets mortal. Parent amoeba will be mortal. But if only binary fission is occurring, then those unicellular organisms are immortal. In your statement based question, anytime it comes like unicellular organisms are immortal, then choose it as a true statement. Okay, remember, because that is a direct line from your text. Okay, next. Examples, if you see for binary fission, we have bacteria, amoeba, euglena, paramecium and planaria. Here you see examples for multiple fission includes what, ma? Amoeba and plasmodium. Examples are important all at a time. Remember, okay, all the time examples are very important. Just highlight whenever you are preparing it. Next, budding. Budding is observed in the organisms like yeast, where the cells are not uniform in shape, wherein the bud is formed from the parental body from the parental yeast, yeast which is unicellular organism, right, unicellular fungi. The scientific name is what ma? The specific name, that is Saccharomyces cerevisiae, wherein from the parental body daughter bud is formed and this nucleus will move into the bud. The nucleus from the parent body will move into the daughter bud, like this nucleus movement will be there. As such, from the parent many daughter buds will be formed as a chain. This is the sequence. First from the parental bud, from the parent body a bud formation is happening, and then movement of the nucleus from the parent body to the bud will take place, after which the chain of buds will be formed. Okay, chain of buds will be formed, and this is how it happens. Okay, just a second. Yeah, so this is how it happens. This is the phenomena of budding, and here budding also is of different types. We have external budding and internal budding based on the type of bud formation. On what basis ma? Based on the type of bud formation. Type of bud formation. We have two types. First is external budding. Okay, external budding. And second is known as internal budding. Here we go. First, external budding. In external budding, if you see, best example is your hydra and yeast, where the buds are formed on the external part of the body, on the external part of the living body. Here you see, once the bud is formed, the nucleus will move from the parent bud to the daughter bud, and then multiple buds are formed, and once this bud is detaching from the parent body, landing onto the suitable substratum, that generates into a new body again. So this is called as what ma? External budding, which is observed in hydra, scypha and yeast. If you see internal budding, which is seen in spongilla, where this is also called as what? Gemule formation, wherein gemules are formed, multiple gemules are formed inside the body of spongilla. Okay, multiple gemules are formed inside the body of spongilla. Inside the body of spongilla. Fine, right. After the formation of multiple cells, these cells are known as, inside each gemule there are many undifferentiated archaeocytes are present. Okay, inside each gemule what are present ma? Many undifferentiated cells. These undifferentiated cells are known as what? Archaeocytes. Archaeocytes. Fine, right. So gemules are formed inside the body of spongilla, and inside the gemules there are many undifferentiated cells called as archaeocytes. Once in the favorable conditions, when the archaeocytes are burst open from the gemules, when gemules are released outside the body, and once the archaeocytes are released, each archaeocyte will be developing into a new spongilla. This is the example of what? Internal budding. External budding and internal budding. Clear, right ma? Okay, both the budding modes, are they clear to you? Fine, right? Yeah. Next you look into fragmentation. Fragmentation is mostly observed in filamentous algae like Spirogyra ulothrix. Okay, in filamentous algae like Spirogyra and ulothrix. Okay, many fragments are seen as such in Spirogyra and ulothrix. Filamentous algae, filamentous green algae, where the algae is formed as such, and it is divided into, it will be breaked into multiple fragments, okay, and each fragment will grow into a new individual, okay. From the parental body, especially in the filamentous algae like Spirogyra and Eulothrix, it is also observed in starfish and hydra, fragmentation mode of asexual reproduction, where the parental body is fragmented to many fragments and each fragment will grow into a new individual. Clear, right? Next is what, ma? Spore formation. This spore formation should always be highlighted because n number of times the questions are asked from spores, even from your biological classification of fungi. Fungal asexual reproduction is mainly by spore formation, okay, and spore formation you will also see it in what, ma? Algae. In algae like Chlamydomonas, okay, in algae like Chlamydomonas, zoospores are formed. These zoospores are also of different types. It can be biflagellated, quadriflagellated or multiflagellated, okay. It can be biflagellated, quadriflagellated means 4 flagella from a single cell, okay, from single body, okay, quadriflagellated or multiflagellated, fine, right. So here you see biflagellated example, you can take Chlamydomonas zoospores. Quadriflagellated, best example you can take the filamentous green algae Eulothrix, which is filamentous green algae, and multiflagellated type of zoospores you can take the example of Erogonium. Fine, right. So these are the examples of algae you can take, like biflagellated in Chlamydomonas, quadriflagellated in Eulothrix, multiflagellated in Erogonium. And then you can see many different types of spores in fungi as well, okay, in fungi. So in fungi, what are the different types of asexual spores that you come across? Asexual spores. So here you see, ma, first type is again zoospores, and this is conidia, which are exogenously released from sterigmata, okay. This is the fruit, this is the body of the mycelium, this is the body of the mycelium, and these are known as what? Sterigmata. From sterigmata, the conidia will be released out exogenously, okay. This is from the mycelium, these are sterigmata and they are released, they will be releasing conidia exogenously. So here you see, first is zoospores, second is what, ma? Conidia, which are exogenously released asexual spores. These are exogenously released asexual spores. Asexual spores. Fine, right, ma? First is zoospores, those are flagellated. Second is aplanospores. Aplanospores, these are non-flagellated spores, okay. Aplanospores are non-flagellated. Fine, right, ma? And next type is chlamydiospores. Chlamydiospores. Chlamydiospores are produced during unfavorable conditions. These spores are resting spores which are produced during unfavorable conditions. Fine, right? So these are zoospores, aplanospores, chlamydiospores. Next is sporangiospores. Sporangiospores. Sporangiospores are again thin walled non-motile spores. Okay, thin walled non-motile spores which are produced endogenously from fungal body. And next will be oidea. Okay, oidea are also the spores which are produced in the nutrient rich solutions. Okay, next type of spores are oidea. Produced in sugar rich solutions. So here you see ma, first is asexual spores in fungi, in algae and fungi, asexual mode of reproduction by spore formation, or you can also address it as what? Sporulation. Okay, you can also address this as sporulation. This is seen in both algae and fungi. Algae and fungi. So here you see, first in algae, the unicellular organisms like Chlamydomonas will be releasing out what? Zoospores first. This based on the number of flagella that is present on the zoospores, it can be biflagellated, quadriflagellated and multiflagellated. Biflagellated you can see it in Chlamydomonas, quadriflagellated you can see it in Eulothrix, multiflagellated you can observe in Erogonium. Fungi here you see ma, zoospores, apreноspores, non-flagellated, chlamydiospores, these are the resting spores which are released from the fungal body under unfavorable conditions. Sporangiospores, these are thin walled spores which are produced during what? These are produced endogenously, sporangiospores. Oidea, these are produced in sugar rich solutions from fungi. And conidia, this is the best example of conidia which is seen in the Rhizopus and in the Ascomycetes and in Penicillium as well, wherein from the sterigmata, from the fungal mycelium over the sterigmata, conidia are released exogenously. Okay, so these are all the asexual spores which are released from fungi, and these are different types of zoospores which are released from algae. You can take a screenshot of this ma, and you can remember it parallelly. You can take a screenshot of this and you can remember it parallelly. Done, right? Yeah. Next you see here. So using the terminology of asexual reproduction will go good with the unicellular organisms and the animals. But vegetative propagation is the proper term to address uniparental type of reproduction in plants. Okay. In plants we will address it by what? In plants we will address it by vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation, mostly natural methods of vegetative propagation is here you see. By stem, if you see natural method of vegetative propagation, first I will explain these diagrams and then I will go with this. So if you see from stem, both underground stem modifications and subaerial stem modifications that we have learned will all help in vegetative propagation, which means nothing but that from any part of the parental body, that part will be modifying to, will be giving rise to a new plant body. Okay, any part of the parental plant body will be giving rise to complete new plant body, that is vegetative propagation. Stem tuber, here stem tuber has germinating eye buds. Okay, this gives rise to new tuber, okay, new potato plant. So this is the best example that we see under underground stem modification, that is stem tuber. Okay, stem tuber which is underground stem modification. And here you see ma, next one is rhizome type of underground stem modification, wherein the adventitious buds are formed. It has nodes, internodes, scaly leaves and buds, right? Buds can give rise to a new plant body. Rhizomes you will see, best example is what? Ginger, which we will be using in our daily lives. And then you see bulbils. Bulbils, we have vegetative bulbils and floral bulbils, okay, which store food and they will act like and they will be giving rise to new plant body. Vegetative bulb example is what I gave, okay, and floral bulb example like the food which is stored in the reproductive bulbs. Dioscorea is the example for floral bulb. Next, leaf buds which are formed at the notches of the leaf. Here at the margins are notches of the leaf, leaf buds are formed. These leaf buds falling onto the suitable substrata, they will be giving rise to a new bryophyllum plant. Okay, this is from the leaf buds, best example is bryophyllum. And offset of water hyacinth which is known as terror of Bengal. Okay, important, which is given in your text. Okay, water hyacinth which is known as terror of Bengal. Why is it known so? It is known so because it is taken as an invasive weed. It is an invasive weed. It has been imported because of its attractive flowers. Okay, but then this has occupied the entire ponds and water bodies, wherein this led to the death of many fish. Okay, that is why that is the main reason that this is addressed as terror of Bengal. This has grown massively in a very short period of time, which led to the death of many fish in the water bodies. That is the reason water hyacinth is known as what? Terror of Bengal. Clear, right? So here we have many examples for both underground stem modifications and subaerial stem modifications. Underground stem modifications, you see, first is rhizome. Best examples include banana, ginger and turmeric. Corms which grow vertically and corms are unbranched. Example is colocasia and amorphophallus. Here see, the examples from morphology also will be covered. That is the reason I said in the beginning of the class that this chapter is a foundation for many other chapters. Okay, if you completely learn this chapter, this will be useful. This stands as a revision also for other chapters. Few concepts will be covered over here beta. So here you see, next is bulb, which is underground stem modification, wherein the covering the shoot bud many scaly leaves will be formed as such. Remember, so that will be giving rise to new individual. Example is what? Garlic, which is a compound tunic, and onion, which is a simple tunic, and lily. Next is tuber, stem tuber. Just now we have learned potato and Jerusalem artichoke also. Next, sucker type of subaerial stem modification. Example, mint and chrysanthemum. This will also help in what? Vegetative propagation. Next, runner, cynodon and oxalis, grass and oxalis. Next, stolon. Example, vallisneria and strawberry. Next, offset, pistia and eichhornia. These are the examples. Fine, right? So all the examples you have to learn it more clearly, ma. Okay, all the examples you have to learn it more clearly. Okay, so this is the complete explanation that I can give you from asexual reproduction and natural methods of vegetative reproduction. In our coming class, we will be looking into the artificial methods of vegetative propagation in plants, and then we will start on the sexual reproduction, pre-fertilization events, that is gametogenesis and gamete transfer. After that, fertilization and post-fertilization events. I will be also covering parthenocarpy, parthenogenesis topic. I will be giving you a brief account on oviparous and viviparous animals. So don't miss out the next session at all. Okay, this will be a complete revision slot. Even for the NEET aspirants, this chapter is useful. Okay, because this has many connecting dots, not just to sexual reproduction of flowering plants, but also to the other chapters. Okay, like biological classification might be, morphology might be. So stay tuned with this chapter beta. So that's all for today's session, students. I wish you all the best for your best preparation. We are just few months close to the exam. Prepare well and do well, and NEET World is always there for you to give the supporting hands. Okay, thank you.